She discovered he wasn't just a lonely guest, he was the owner of her life-changing hotel. Emma wiped the sweat from her brow as she dashed between tables, balancing coffee pots and plates of greasy burgers like a seasoned performer in a high-stakes circus. The local diner buzzed with life, laughter, and the ever-present scent of bacon. Yet, in her heart, Emma carried the weight of her responsibilities: her 6-year-old daughter, Lily, fading dreams, and the burdens of daily life that wrapped around her like a thick fog. But this particular rainy evening, something felt different. In the dim lobby of the Riverside Hotel, which once hummed with joy, Jack sat an enigma wrapped in shadows. His haunted eyes seemed distant from the laughter echoing in town. Emma could sense the weight in his demeanor, even across the room. She felt an inexplicable urge to ease his burden, like the longing to wrap an old coat around a shivering stranger. It wasn't just pity, it was something deeper, something that pulled her closer to him despite the storm outside. As she walked towards Jack, a candle flickered on the table near him, illuminating the lines etched into his face. His presence radiated a sense of longing, a spirit untethered. Emma served him a steaming cup of coffee, watching as his lips curled ever so slightly, barely a smile, but enough to feel warmth amidst the cold. "You should try the pie," she suggested, the words tumbling out with an unexpected brightness. "It's everyone's favorite." Jack glanced up, two worlds colliding in a moment. "I'll take your word for it," he replied softly, his voice carrying a depth of understanding that cut through the din of fading hopes. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue." Days passed, and Emma and Jack's friendship blossomed quietly, like spring flowers pushing through frost. They spent afternoons discussing their dreams, blending laughter with pain. Her tales of Lily's impromptu dance performances echoed in tragic harmony with his stories of family and responsibility. They both struggled. The loneliness that clung to Emma felt mirrored in Jack's faltering smile. Their connection breathed life back into the dust-kissed corners of the Riverside Hotel. Then came the town's festival. Emma envisioned a vibrant revival of old traditions, colors, laughter, and an electric hum of hope. But it also served as a sharp reminder of dreams unfulfilled. "Let us restore the hotel," she suggested one evening, her heart racing with both excitement and fear. Jack's eyes lit up with a spark that ignited something in her: possibilities, maybe a future. Together, they could breathe life back into the summer festival. But just when hope seemed to shine brightest, the truth came crashing down as the townsfolk buzzed with whispers. Jack was not just a lonely soul, he was the estranged heir to the very hotel Emma envisioned restoring. And just like that, the fragility of their connection shattered like glass. Jack wrestled with the pieces, while Emma faced a crossroads: faith in love or loyalty to her roots. The sun dipped behind the old hotel as they met for one final conversation, their eyes locking, each holding a world of questions. Would she let go of her past for the dream of a future? As rain pattered against the windows, shadows closed in tighter around them, the weight of dreams and nightmares hanging heavy in the air. The rain kept pouring, each droplet a reminder of uncertainty, echoing the tension between them. Emma took a deep breath, her heart racing. "Jack, I need to know how you really feel about this place. About us." Jack leaned back, looking lost in thought. The flickering light cast shadows across his face, making his expression hard to read. "I came back here thinking I could escape, the expectations, the legacy." He sighed deeply, the weight of his words lingering in the damp air. "But it seems you've already done so much for this hotel and the town, Emma. More than I have in years." Her heart fluttered at the compliment, but the pit in her stomach churned. "And what about me? What do you want from me?" He started, then hesitated, his gaze drifting to the floor. I want to help. I want to restore this hotel, yes, but I also want to figure out what my life means now. It is all so tangled. Emma's gaze softened, a twinge of sympathy invading her heart. I know what it's like to feel trapped by expectations, she said gently. I've been trying to build a life for Lily, but I feel like I'm losing myself in the process. He looked up, meeting her eyes with a vulnerability that made her want to take his hand. Maybe we both need to take a leap together, find what it means to reclaim our lives. The intensity of the moment hung in the air, a delicate balance of hope mixed with fear. Jack, she faltered. Could she really open herself up to someone who had, until recently, been a stranger? With the backdrop of the hotel once vibrant, now silent, the memories pressing down around them, her heart swelled with longing. Just then, a loud crash of thunder startled them, breaking the spell. Emma jumped. Maybe we should wait until the storm passes. She forced a laugh, trying to lighten the mood even as anxiety coiled tightly around her heart. But Jack stepped closer, his presence steady amidst the storm. Are we going to let our fears hold us back? Or are we going to fight for something worth having? His voice was low, firm, as if anchoring her to the moment. The rain drummed on the roof, and for a heartbeat, the world outside faded. Emma searched his eyes, feeling the pull as she wondered about the choices lying ahead. Her facade of independence began to crack, revealing the hope buried deep beneath the surface. Could they honestly work together to recreate the hotel, to forge a future? As they stood in the glow of the flickering candle, their breathing synchronized, a sense of solidarity slid into the space between them. But just as Emma opened her mouth to speak again, the lobby door burst open, and a figure rushed in soaked and panicked, the electricity in the air shattered around them. Emma! You need to come quick. Lily, as the words hung heavy in the air, silencing everything. The panic in the newcomer's voice twisted Emma's heart, yanking her from the safe haven of the moment. Jack's eyes widened, the weight of the world hanging between them once more. What happened? He demanded, stepping toward the door. I don't know. She's hurt. Emma's heart raced, merging fear with adrenaline. She grabbed her coat, a million thoughts racing in her mind. Jack, I need you, she confessed, urgency pulsing through her veins. Will you come with me? At that instant, she recognized the gravity of the crossroads they stood at. Was this their moment to become more than friends? To share burdens and perhaps dreams for the first time? As they dashed out into the night, the storm raging fiercely around them, the uncertainty of what lay ahead felt as daunting as it was exhilarating. Here was a test of everything she felt, a moment that could alter the course of their lives forever. What awaited them on the other side of the storm? The air was thick with rain and fear as Emma and Jack sprinted across the slick cobblestones of the town square, the echo of thunder rumbling in the distance. Each raindrop hammered against their skin, soaking them in moments of frozen terror. Emma's mind raced faster than her feet. What had happened to Lily? They dashed down the dimly lit streets, illuminated only by occasional flashes of lightning. Jack kept pace, his presence a reassuring constant, even as anxiety prickled at Emma's thoughts. She could feel a familiar panic setting in, that mix of helplessness and fury that would often swell inside her when it came to Lily. Do you think she's okay? Emma's voice trembled, cutting through the sound of the storm. It's going to be fine, Jack replied, even though his tight jaw whispered doubt. For a split second, she caught a glimpse of the worry etched across his face. It mirrored her own feelings, raw and exposed. They reached the hospital, its stark lights glowing in the deluge. Emma felt her heart pounding against her chest like a war drum. She burst through the doors, breathless and dripping. The scent of antiseptic hit her like a wall, filling her with a new wave of anxiety. The receptionist looked up, startled. What's wrong? Lily. My daughter. She was hurt. Emma barely managed to get the words out as Jack stepped beside her, placing a hand on the small of her back, offering comfort that she desperately needed. The receptionist nodded, her fingers flying over the keyboard. "Please wait here." She disappeared behind a door, leaving them in a limbo of dread. Emma felt Jack's warmth next to her. It anchored her even as her thoughts spiraled out of control. "What if it's bad?" she whispered, her voice thick with fear. "It's not. She's strong, Emma." Jack turned to her, his eyes fierce. "You're both strong." She wanted to believe him, but all she could see was her daughter's bright smile and the ways she had tried to protect her. Every moment spent away from her felt like a failure. Another loud clap of thunder resonated outside, matching the chaos in her heart. Why was it so hard to let someone in? Just when she thought she was building something solid, life threw her a curveball. After what felt like an eternity, a nurse appeared, clipboard in hand. Emma rushed forward, anxiety flooding her like the rain outside. "How's Lily?" "She's stable." The nurse's calm demeanor was the balm Emma needed. "Just a sprained wrist and a mild concussion from a fall. She's resting now, and you can see her shortly." Relief swept over Emma, mingled with guilt and gratitude. She nodded, fighting back tears. Jack squeezed her shoulder gently, his presence a clear reminder that she wasn't alone in this. As they waited, Emma felt the heaviness of everything pressing against her, a mix of emotions that trapped her in a whirlwind. She wanted to ask Jack about the future, about what they could become together, but the uncertainty about Lily consumed her, making it feel selfish. "Why did you come back to this place?" she asked suddenly, needing to break the silence that hummed with unspoken words. Jack paused, consideration etching his features. "I thought coming back would mean something," he finally replied, his voice low. "But now it feels like everything is changing, especially with you." She searched his eyes, and those words hung between them, heavy with promise. Just then, a familiar voice broke through the quiet chaos. "Mom?" Lily appeared from around the corner, her small form looking fragile in a hospital gown. Emma rushed forward, wrapping her arms around her daughter and breathing in her familiar scent. "I'm okay, Mom." Lily reassured, but Emma could see the fear in her eyes. Jack stood back, a silent observer, allowing the moment between mother and daughter to unfold. But as Emma held Lily close, she sensed the shift in her heart, a new path emerging as Jack's gaze followed them with hope. What would this mean for their future? Through the haze of emotion, another crashing wave of thunder erupted, but Emma's heart felt lighter. Would this be a call to embrace something more, or the start of yet another struggle against the storms of life to come? The moment shimmered with potential, leaving her to wonder, could they weather any storm together? Would they find the strength to reshape their lives, or were they merely meant to stand on the sidelines of their own stories? Lily pulled back, her eyes wide and searching. "Mom, I'm really okay, just a little sore." Emma searched her daughter's face, a mix of maternal instinct and relief washing over her. The fear that had knotted in her stomach began to loosen, if only a little. "Just a sprained wrist and a bump on your head, kiddo," Emma replied, forcing a smile that trembled at the edges. "You scared me half to death." Jack stepped forward, the tension in his posture noticeable. "You had us worried, Lily. Next time, can you try not to tumble down any stairs?" Lily's lips quirked up for a moment, the innocence of childhood still nestled in her personality. "I'll do my best," she said, trying to lighten the mood. While Emma knelt beside her, helping to steady the thin blanket that draped over Lily's legs, she saw Jack's smile fading into something more serious. The air between them shifted again, like the clouds racing outside. There was a question lingering, hanging in the silence, one that neither of them dared to voice just yet. Emma turned her focus to Lily, desperate to distract her from the sterile environment. "Do you want me to read you a story?" she asked, pulling a chair closer. Lily nodded eagerly. "Yes. The one about the dragon and the princess." Jack slipped away, perhaps sensing they needed a moment. Emma couldn't help but follow him with her gaze as he wandered to the window, glancing out at the storm. He looked both thoughtful and distant, consumed by his own concerns. As she began to recite the story, her voice took on a gentle rhythm, lulling Lily. The girl's eyes sparkled with excitement as she envisioned the dragon swooping down to rescue the princess, weaving magic that held the reality of fear at bay. But in the back of Emma's mind, her thoughts drifted back to Jack. Questions swirled around his return downtown. What did it mean? Why was he so close yet so far away? Moments later, the door creaked open and a doctor entered, his smile bright in an otherwise dim room. Good news. You're going home soon, Lily. Just a few more tests, and we'll get you checked out. The excitement washed over her, pulling giggles from deep within. Yes. I want to go home. Emma's heart swelled, but a shadow flickered across her thoughts. Home. What would it look like now? The life that had once felt so certain was now a canvas splattered with uncertainty. Once the doctor left, Jack returned to their side, his energy changed. Looks like we won't be here much longer, he said, forcing a grin. Emma's heart contradicted his optimism. We still need to talk, Jack. He shifted uncomfortably. Yeah, I guess we do. Lily, oblivious to the deeper currents, smiled brightly at them both. I want pizza for dinner. Can we order pizza? Emma chuckled softly, casting a warm glance at her daughter. The notion of a simple dinner felt like a breath of fresh air, a distraction again. But the weight of their shared past and uncertain future lingered heavy in the room. Jack crouched next to Lily, the tension between him and Emma crackling. I can't say no to pizza, he teased, and Lily cheered. But when he stood back up, Emma sensed the unspoken words still hung heavily in the air. This looming conversation about their feelings required bravery. Lily, why don't you go grab some crayons from that table over there? Emma suggested, not twisting away from the palpable buzz of Jack's energy. As Lily bounded off, the room dimmed with silence, isolating them. Emma locked eyes with Jack. Things can't go back to how they were, can they? No, Jack said firmly. But maybe it's time for something new. Just then, the lights flickered as another flash of lightning lit up the room, casting shadows across their faces. Emma's heart thudded. This was at a pivotal moment. Could they really start anew, together? Or would this be one more chapter in a story that never found its resolution? The hesitation cracked the air between them, waiting to be filled. As Lily returned, the sound of crayons rattling in her hands was bright and alive, cutting through the tension. Mom! Jack! Look! But Emma was lost in thought, wondering if this moment would lead them down a path of healing or fracture them further apart. What truths lay ahead, just waiting to be discovered? Lily flopped down on the chair and scattered crayons across the table, her vibrant laughter spilling over the room. Each thud of the crayons breaking the momentary silence pulled Emma back to the present. She watched her daughter with a smile that masked the swirl of questions in her heart. Wow, we've got a masterpiece in the making. Emma encouraged, her voice brightening. But as she forced a smile, her mind drifted back to Jack. Emma? Jack's voice broke through her thoughts, a quiet urgency straining against the casual tone. What happens now? She met his gaze, the weight of the moment swirling between them. I don't know, Jack. I honestly don't know what we want this to be. He took a deep breath, his hands sliding into his pockets, a classic sign of a man searching for the right words. I think we can start by he hesitated, searching her eyes for a sign of hope. By figuring out what we want for ourselves, and for Lily. Lily, colorful explosions of creativity around her, looked up. Can we be a family again? She asked innocently, her voice filled with fierce hope. Emma's heart sank at the question. Sweetheart, family means different things to different people. Can't we all just live together? Lily pressed, eyes wide. The sincerity in her daughter's voice tugged at Emma's heartstrings. Jack knelt next to Lily, his eyes softening. Maybe one day, if we all try really hard. But I want it now. I want pizza and family movie nights like before. Lily insisted, her small face scrunching with determination. The very things Emma wished for: family dinners and laughter pulled on them like a magnetic force. She looked at Jack, needing his support, needing to know if they could embrace this possibility while everything remained so uncertain. Lily, it takes time to rebuild those moments, Jack said gently. But we can start with pizza. That's a good step, right? Yeah, pizza. Lily laughed, her innocence a balm against the encroaching anxiety of adulthood that surrounded Emma. Emma took a measured breath, her mind racing. Could a simple family dinner be enough to mend what was broken? Could they transcend the pain of the past? Okay, let us do pizza, she replied cautiously. But we also need to talk about everything else. Just then, a nurse poked her head in, smiling warmly. I'll get started on the discharge papers while you order dinner. Lily's got a lot of crayons waiting to be used. Lily squealed in delight, oblivious to the tension. Can I color the dragon too? Emma nodded, watching the spark of joy ignite. She turned to Jack, their eyes locking once more. This felt like uncharted territory, a slow dance on a cliff edge. Jack, she said, pushing through the emotional haze. It means a lot to me that you're here. But we need to dig deeper about where we stand. He nodded, the seriousness of it all flooding back as he ran a hand through his hair. We will. But let us get through tonight first. In that moment, the storm outside intensified. Rain hammered against the window like a heartbeat echoing their inner turmoil. Yet amidst the chaos, a flicker of hope ignited a real chance to guide their little family out of fragility and into something stronger. As they prepared to order, another crash of thunder rolled through, shaking the walls slightly. Emma jumped, wondering if this signaled the tumult ahead. Just like that dragon, right, Mom? Lily shouted, obliviously thrilled. We'll be the brave ones. Emma chuckled softly but couldn't shake the feeling of uncertainty creeping back in. With renewed focus, she squeezed Jack's hand momentarily, as if saying, we can do this together. But as the call for pizza began, the door swung open once more, revealing a figure that froze them all in place, a stranger who seemed to have arrived out of nowhere, a reminder that there were still mysteries left unsolved. Is this the Mackenzie family? The stranger asked, stepping inside as if he carried secrets not yet shared. What does he want? Emma wondered, stomach tightening. As they all turned to face the unexpected visitor, Emma sensed that the night was far from over and the secrets ready to unravel might change everything yet again. The silence that followed felt like an echoing chamber, thick with unspoken questions. The stranger stood there, tall and imposing, with an unmistakably sharp gaze that flitted between Emma, Jack, and their daughter. He seemed to assess the situation, weighing the impact of his presence. Who are you? Jack's voice cut through the charged air. There was a protective tone, a father's instinct kicking in. The man cleared his throat, his features softening as he took a step forward. My name is Thomas. I represent someone who has interest in your situation. Emma's heart raced. What do you mean by interest? There was an uncomfortable pause before Thomas continued. I'm here to offer help. Your financial difficulties, they've caught some attention. Someone wants to assist you. Lily, oblivious to the heavy tension, turned back to her crayons, obliviously coloring away while the adults grappled with the unexpected turn. Emma narrowed her eyes, skeptical. And what do you gain from this? Thomas held her gaze, unflinching. Nothing that matters. Just the chance to support a family struggling to find its way. Jack folded his arms, unsure. So you're just a good Samaritan, then? The skepticism in his voice was palpable. Let us say I'm a facilitator, a link to an opportunity you might not have on your own. His tone was neutral, but there was something in his demeanor that seemed too polished, too rehearsed. Emma felt a pang of anxiety grip her. Was this a lifeline or a trap? Why would anyone want to help us? Because I believe in second chances. Especially for families. You deserve better than what life has thrown at you. Lily looked up then, her eyes sparkling with curiosity. Can you help us have pizza? She innocently chimed in. A small smile broke through the stranger's serious facade. If that's what you want, I assure you there's a way. Emma's heart softened at Lily, her small face glowing with hope. But she couldn't let her guard down completely. We need to talk this over first, she said, pushing past the rising chaos inside her. Of course, Thomas nodded, understanding the weight of the moment. Take your time. I'll be right here. As he took a step back, the atmosphere shifted again. Emma and Jack shared a glance, words unspoken but fraught with a mixture of disbelief and wonder. Could this man truly be offering them a way out? A chance at something resembling normalcy? Outside, the rain continued to pour, an ever-pressing reminder of the turmoil in their lives. Emma felt the weight of it all pressing down on her shoulders. It seemed more restless than ever, reflecting the whirlwind of emotions inside her. Lily, sweetheart, Emma said, her voice steadier than she felt. How about you color me a picture while we talk? Just for a moment. Okay, Mommy. Lily chirped, turning her focus back to the paper before her. Jack took a cautious step towards Thomas, lowering his voice while keeping his eyes locked. What do you really want? I want to help you, the man replied simply, his voice earnest. But understand this, the road ahead may not be straightforward. There are choices to be made, and sacrifices to navigate. Emma watched, heart pounding, as Jack's brows furrowed, clearly torn. She felt the urgency of the moment wash over her, knowing that whatever lay ahead could either bind them back together or tear them further apart. What kind of choices? Jack pressed, eyes narrowed. I can't divulge everything right now. But trust me, every action has a consequence. You'll need to decide what's truly important. As tension thickened, Emma felt the twist of fate closing in. The thought of rising from the ashes of their broken family warred against her fears. Could she trust this stranger with their future? Emma, Jack said softly, almost a whisper, what do you think? All eyes turned to her, and for a fleeting second, she felt the weight of the world touch her soul. The rain seemed to taper as if drawing in a quiet breath, an indiscernible moment in which her heart sought an answer. In that stillness, as certainty flickered just out of reach, she wondered what lay in the shadows of this unexpected encounter. The door continued to sway slightly with the gusts of wind outside, as if urging her towards a decision that could change everything. Do we really want to dive into the unknown? Emma thought, heart pounding against her chest. And as the faint light of lightning flickered outside, she realized it might just be time to take that leap of faith. Emma felt the heat of uncertainty radiating off her skin, mixing with the cool air pouring in through the cracked window. The weight of Jack's gaze wrapped around her, urging her to respond, yet she felt frozen in place, grappling with the magnitude of the moment. What if this is who we've been waiting for? Lily's innocent question echoed in Emma's mind. Or what if it's another trap? The push and pull of hope battled fear, making her heart race. Jack was pacing now, eyes flickering back to Thomas. I'm not trusting this guy without knowing what's really going on, he muttered, rubbing the back of his neck in frustration. Emma caught a glimpse of Thomas, his face still composed but with an intensity that suggested he understood their hesitations. He seemed poised for her answer, as if it mattered for more than just their family. Look, Emma started, voice quavering slightly, we've been through so much already. She took a breath, summoning courage. What kind of help are we talking about? It can't just be straightforward if there are stakes involved. Thomas stepped closer again, not invading their personal space but emphasizing his sincerity. Let's just call it a safety net. A second chance if you choose to take it. He paused, glancing at Lily, who was now humming a little tune to herself, lost in her colorful world. But you would have to make a commitment. It means stepping out into unknown waters and trusting that someone will catch you. Jack chuckled bitterly. Sounds like a gamble to me. And we've already lost so much. Not everything you consider risky is a loss, Thomas replied calmly, his eyes flickering with something unspoken. As he continued speaking, a darkness crept into his voice. But every decision you make will come with its own price. That's the reality. Jack's brow tightened. And what's the price for your kind of help? I can't disclose everything now, Thomas sighed, glancing back towards his watch. But when you're ready, you'll have the chance to speak with the person I represent. They hold the key. Great, Jack said, sarcasm dripping. Another mystery wrapped in what? Good intentions? Emma reached for Jack's arm, an instinctive move to calm his turmoil. Maybe we should hear him out first, she pressed gently. A lot of people talk big promises, but this one it feels different. Different how? Jack shot back, frustration tinged with anxiety. He sees us, she said quietly, glancing back at Thomas. Not just our problems. We're more than a statistic to him. For a heartbeat, silence reigned, broken only by the gentle scribbles of Lily's crayon dancing across the paper. Outside, the rain began to ebb, as if nature itself were holding its breath. Thomas relaxed a little, sensing her shifting stance. I understand the hesitation, truly. But sometimes circumstances conspire to bring people to pivotal moments. What awaits you could change everything. Lily stretched her arms, oblivious to the adult tension. Can we really get pizza? She beamed at Thomas, eyes wide, as if he were a superhero offering the world. He smiled back, genuine this time. Yes, little one. Pizza can be a start. However, a flicker of doubt crossed his face, almost imperceptibly. Did he really mean that, or was there something darker lurking behind those words? No, Jack said firmly, stepping between them and the stranger. We're not bargaining with our lives for pizza. What's the real catch? Thomas's expression hardened slightly, but he remained composed. Sometimes, Jack, the real catch is facing your fears. Emma felt a shudder ripple through her, confusing clarity with apprehension. She could feel their fragile world teetering, waiting for either support or a devastating fall. What's it going to be, Emma? Jack stepped closer, voice low like thunder rumbling in the distance. A leap into the unknown, or a step back from the edge? Just then, the sounds outside transformed, echoing a distant laughter barely audible over the drumming rain. An unfamiliar chill crept into the room, underscoring how fragile their trust in the moment truly was. Emma took a breath. Heart fluttering wildly. The decision felt monumental, a cliff they stood upon with both fear and hope swirling around them. But was she willing to risk everything on a dream? The flickering light cut through the murky space, a reminder that amidst the uncertainty, a choice had to be made. And as she gathered her thoughts, the thunder rolled ominously in the distance, a warning or a promise of what was to come. Emma felt the air shift, charged with tension as she faced Jack. His worry etched on his features, the weight of their past pressing down like heavy stones. She could see distrust swirling in his eyes, battling the flicker of hope she'd felt just moments ago. Look, I know it's a big ask, Thomas interjected, his voice steady, but every great leap forward feels daunting. You're not alone in this. He shifted his gaze to Lily, who drew a joyful sun on the paper, oblivious to the unsettling atmosphere. Yeah, well, it sure feels like we are, Jack shot back, his voice rising slightly. You don't know what we've been through. Emma took a deep breath, the moment stretching like an elastic band ready to snap. What if this is the chance we haven't seen yet? She ventured, looking into Thomas's eyes, searching for something more than just promises. What if, just this once, the gamble is worth taking? Jack's gaze hardened, and Emma watched as determination warred with fear in his stance. And if it's not? Another false dawn, another heartbreak? Emma, please. His voice dropped to a whisper, raw with emotion. Don't you see? We can't keep risking everything. The weight of Jack's words sank deep into Emma's chest. She nodded slowly, wrestling with her own anxieties. I know, but what if we live like this forever? Treading water, waiting for something to change? Maybe that's the point, Thomas said softly. Amidst all the chaos, sometimes it's about learning how to swim. If swimming means diving into a sea of uncertainty, I'm not comfortable with that, Jack replied fiercely. A tremor of panic edged into his voice. Especially when it involves Lily. The magic crayon sparkled as Lily added the finishing touch to her drawing, a tiny smiling figure with wings. Though her innocence was a brilliant light, it felt almost blinding beneath the dark clouds of adult fears surrounding them. Look, Mommy, it's us. Lily chirped, beaming at Emma, her face glowing with joy. If only it were that simple, Emma thought. She wished she could view the world through Lily's eyes, where danger didn't lurk behind every corner and hope didn't feel so threadbare. She turned to Thomas, who wore an understanding smile. You said there was a key, she pressed, her voice steadier now. What does that mean? What do we have to do to earn it? Commitment in its truest form, Thomas replied, voice calm yet charged. It means embracing your choice, confronting your fears. Only then will you find your answers. The key isn't just for me, it's for you, too. Jack snorted. So we just jump into this blind trust and hope for the best. Sounds foolproof. Despite his skepticism, Emma could feel the spark of another possibility flickering within. Maybe it's about more than just us. Maybe it's teaching Lily how to navigate a world that won't always be safe. Don't you dare put that on her. Jack exclaimed, the panic breaking through. She deserves to grow up without risking her life every time we make a decision. Emma's heart ached at his words. But isn't that what we're all doing? Just trying to survive? What if we could actually thrive instead? Hear us out, Jack. Just this once. For a long moment, silence settled over them, as if the world outside had paused to listen. Thomas stood patiently, waiting for their answer, but the real power rested in Emma's hands. As she stared at Jack, she wished desperately she could pull him back from his fears, show him the glimmer of hope she felt. The gentle hum of Lily's laughter broke the stillness. She had drawn a city of rainbow colors, her childish optimism unfurling like a blossoming flower against the grayness of their reality. When Emma looked back at Jack, his expression had softened, though uncertainty still shadowed his features. What if we lose again? He whispered, the vulnerability in his voice piercing her heart. Her pulse quickened. But what if we find our way? She countered. What's the worst that could happen? As thunder rumbled again in the distance, Emma realized they were standing at a precipice, not just between two choices, but two futures. She felt the weight of possibility surging around them, a courage rising from her very core. Wait, what if she was meant to choose this path? Let us go, she urged, adrenaline and hope mingling. Let us find out. But as soon as the words left her lips, the laughter outside turned darker, a shadow crossing the light from the window. Thomas's expression shifted, unease creeping across his features. I think it's time we moved this conversation to a more private setting. And with that, the air thickened with tension again, a reminder that every choice they made came with its own set of consequences. What was waiting for them in the dark? Emma's heart raced as she sensed they hadn't come close to unraveling the mystery yet. Emma's pulse pounded in her ears as Thomas led them down the narrow hallway, the rhythm of her heart echoing the uncertainty hanging thick in the air. The walls were lined with photos of smiling families and serene landscapes, a stark contrast to the turmoil within her. She glanced back at Jack, his brow furrowed, eyes darting around like he was expecting something to leap from the shadows. "Where are we going?" Jack asked, his voice tinged with worry. Lily followed close behind, blissfully unaware of the tension her parents felt. Her tiny footsteps pattered softly against the floor, a reminder of innocence amidst the encroaching darkness. "To a place where we can think clearly," Thomas replied, his tone firm yet gentle. "Trust me. It's better if we talk away from prying ears." Emma nodded, her anxiety transforming into curiosity. As they moved deeper into the building, she recalled her dream of escape from their stagnant life, from the ambiguity that constricted their world. Was this the moment it all began to change? Thomas pushed open a door at the end of the hall. Inside was a small, rustic room, its single window letting in a sliver of sunlight, illuminating dust motes dancing lazily in the air. The atmosphere felt different here, a mix of hope and uncertainty. It was as if this space had waited just for them. "Sit," Thomas instructed, urging them to take a seat at the wooden table in the center. Emma exchanged glances with Jack. The weight of the decision loomed larger now, the comfort of familiarity enticing but also suffocating. As they settled, Thomas began to explain. "This hotel, it's not just a business. It's a sanctuary. A place where people come to alter their paths, reclaim their stories. Each key holds potential, but only if you're ready to unlock their doors." Jack's skepticism returned, his arms crossing defensively. "So, what? You're saying we can just walk in and everything will be different?" Thomas smiled, as if he welcomed the challenge. "Not just different. Better. But it requires vulnerability, commitment. You have to be willing to risk what you know for what you hope to find." Lily's scribbles scratched softly against the paper, her face bright with concentration. Emma watched her, marveling at the stark honesty of a child's imagination. Wasn't that what they all needed? The courage to paint a new landscape, to seek out vibrant colors amid the grayness? What if we walk through those doors and it's worse? Jack's voice broke through her thoughts, thick with fear. "What then?" "No one can promise it'll be easy," Thomas said softly. "But staying here, within your own fears, will guarantee nothing changes. No risk, no reward. It's simply a matter of faith." Emma felt the impulse build inside her, a force so strong it was almost tangible. "I want to try," she confessed, her voice barely a whisper. "For Lily. For us." Jack's expression wavered, torn between his fear and the flicker of hope that had ignited within Emma. "We can't just gamble everything. But what if we're holding on to a past that doesn't serve us anymore?" Emma countered, her heart racing. "What if this is our moment to step into something new?" Silence enveloped them, laden with the weight of their choices. It was in that pause that Emma realized they were all at a crossroads, not just herself and Jack, but the whole family. Lily, sensing the tension, looked up from her drawing, her eyes wide and innocent. "Can we go on an adventure, Mommy?" Her voice was light, free from the burden of adult worries. Emma smiled at her daughter, her heart squeezing with love. "Yes, sweet girl. An adventure." She turned to Jack, whose demeanor was still hesitant, but she saw the flickers of understanding in his gaze. "What do you say?" The room felt alive with possibility, the walls echoing with the dreams that hung in the air. But then, in that electrifying moment, the door swung open, revealing not Thomas, but a figure darker and more foreboding, a silhouette shrouded in secrecy. "Are you ready to find the truth?" the stranger asked, his voice low and dangerous, sending a chill coursing through the room. Emma's stomach dropped as she locked eyes with the mysterious newcomer. Who was he, and what did he know about their journey? The stakes had escalated, and they were no longer just negotiating choices, they were now facing a larger puzzle that demanded unraveling. What shadowy truth awaited them beyond the thresholds of that hotel? Emma gulped, both terrified and exhilarated, ready to confront whatever awaited. Emma's heart raced, caught between the fear of the unknown and the shimmering hope of possibility. Jack stood beside her, his eyes fixed on the stranger who had just entered their fragile world. The tension in the room was palpable, thicker than the storm that had raged outside. Penetrating the silence, the stranger's voice was a low rumble, laced with mystery, sending tremors of anxiety through Emma. "Are you ready to find the truth?" he repeated, stepping further into the room, the light revealing sharp features that held secrets. Thomas remained still, a quiet observer now, as if he sensed the shift in dynamics. Jack moved protectively in front of Emma and Lily, his instinct kicking in to shield them from whatever storm was brewing. "Who are you?" Jack demanded, every ounce of defiance in his posture. The stranger regarded Jack with calm intensity, unfazed. "You're holding back," he said, his gaze sweeping over Emma and Jack. "You all are. But what if I told you that the truth could lead to everything you've both been yearning for?" Emma felt Jack's tension beside her. Her heart pounded. The walls felt like they were closing in, but there was a pulse of curiosity that sparked within her. If this was their chance to rediscover themselves, to rebuild, then they had to listen. "What do you know about us?" Jack challenged, eyes narrowing. "I know about loss," the stranger replied simply. "I know about courage. And I know that inside this hotel are doors that don't just open rooms, they open lives. But you'll need to face the storm to reach them." Lily, oblivious to the gravity of the moment, wandered closer to the stranger, her childish innocence cutting through the weighty atmosphere. "Are you a wizard?" she asked, her eyes blazing with wonder. The stranger softened, a smile tugging at his lips. "Maybe in a way, yes. I unlock magic, but you have to summon it within yourselves first." Emma watched as Jack's stance began to relax, just a fraction. There was power in the unknown, a chance perched on the edge of the invisible. The walls of fear they had built around themselves were starting to crumble. "What's the first step?" Emma asked, her voice steady despite the shadows looming around them. "Letting go," he replied, his gaze piercing. "Letting go of who you thought you were, what you think you cannot be. The old stories must be rewritten." Emma's heart swelled, and she felt the beginnings of clarity envelop her. They couldn't keep treading water, relying on the familiar. "How do you mean?" "Every door in this place holds a story, a key to who you are now and who you could become. But to enter, you must confront the very truths you shy away from. The fears, the pain, only then will you find your way forward." Jack shifted beside her, uncertainty flickering in his eyes as he processed the gravity of the decision laying in front of them. Emma reached for his hand, squeezing it lightly, a silent show of solidarity. The moment felt fragile, yet pulsating with potential. "Lily, do you want to explore with us?" Emma asked, steadying her voice to mask the whirlwind of emotions swirling inside. "Yes." Lily cheered, bright-eyed with excitement. "I love adventures. Can we find dragons?" "Yes, sweetheart," Emma smiled, glancing at Jack. "We can find dragons together." Jack took a deep breath, glancing back at the stranger. "All right, let us see what you have to say. But this better be worth it." The stranger nodded, his expression shifting from serious to supportive. "What lies ahead is a journey, a path to healing. You'll discover pieces of yourselves you thought were lost. All you need to do is trust the unfolding." With an energetic step forward, the stranger gestured as if leading them deeper into the maze of the Riverside Hotel. Curiosity flickered in Emma's eyes, mixed with the warmth of standing beside Jack, a companion now rather than a mere protector. As they entered the dim hallway beyond, Emma felt the weight of every step that echoed with potential. Together, they traversed past doors that stood silently, each one cloaked in shadows so many stories housed within, waiting to be unlocked. Lily giggled nervously, oblivious to the heavy atmosphere now laced with hope. Emma let go of the grip on Jack's hand, instead linking her arm with Lily's, feeling the spark of that innocent belief that all things were possible. It lit a fire within her that she didn't know she craved. The stranger paused in front of an ornately carved door, its surface glimmering faintly as if capturing whispers of the past. "This is where you must begin," he said, his voice pacing evenly with the pulse of anticipation flooding the room. Emma took a step forward, searching Jack's gaze for reassurance. He nodded, his expression now resolute, a newfound spark igniting in his eyes. "All right, together," she whispered, her heart thrumming at the prospect of leaping into the unknown. "Together," Jack echoed. As they moved closer, Emma felt that this moment could mark a transformation, the sunset of old burdens giving rise to a sunrise of new beginnings. All the dreams they had buried beneath the weight of disappointment could now resurface, hungry for release. On the count of 3, the stranger instructed, mischief dancing on his lips. 1, 2, 3. They pushed the door open together, a wave of warmth flooding over them, as if the hotel itself breathed life back into their weary spirits. Beyond was an enchanting sight, an inexplicable realm where dreams danced like fireflies, igniting hope in a way that flooded their hearts. "Welcome to the beginning," the stranger said, stepping aside. Emma took a deep breath, stepping into the light, a leap of faith toward a future they would dare to build together. "Let us find those dragons," she grinned, the adventure beginning anew in the eyes of a once burdened mother, a slowly awakening father, and an exuberant little girl. They were ready to reclaim their story, ready to embrace the adventure of a lifetime. Emma felt hope rekindle and intertwine their fates, a profound connection uniting them on the fringes of possibility. This was it. And as they ventured into a world painted with infinite colors, she realized not only had they come to reclaim a hotel, but to recreate their lives together. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Your support is essential. Comment your reactions and feelings about this incredible ending. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Remember, you need to show your support now. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Every action counts. Only true fans truly understand the importance of backing the channel.